co-host of Morning on Merritt Street, Fanchon Stinger.
Wow. Which one?
That's her.
I know I'm going in the middle. There it is.
Well, hello, CPAC. Wait a minute. I don't know if I heard that right. Hello, CPAC. Well, we are delighted to be with you this afternoon, but there's one thing we're going to get started and declared right off the bat. CPAC, revival is here. Woo! Revival is here. I know so many of you, myself included, have been praying for revival. We have been praying for our country. We have been praying to return back to the Christian Judeo values that our country is founded on and those great freedoms that we all are blessed to enjoy. So today, we are delighted and honored to talk with you about where we've come, where we are, and what God has for this country in the future. Amen? All right, let's get started. Well, Bill and Dean, it's surreal to be able to sit here and have a conversation with both of you because both of you are so integral in terms of this journey we have all been on. Bill, I want to start with you. We know you have a stellar background. You have led the faith and media movement with your positions throughout the years. Now you're with the Great American Media Corporation. You're leading that. There's so many projects that you have now, more that are coming. But a lot of us have heard your name. A lot of us have watched your entertainment. We're so excited about what you're doing, so thank you for that. I want to start with something that I don't know that you have touched on in public. But we're among family, so we're going to do it right here, right now. You were previously with the Hallmark Channel, and all of a sudden one day you were gone. And you have not really given us the behind the scenes, the scoop, that's what our journalists like to get, in terms of what really happened. Would you like to talk about that for the first time right here publicly?
Of course, sure.
I'm dying to hear this story. I really want to hear this
Well, we
story.
worked together a lot at that time.
Yes.
And we will work together.
At the Hallmark Channel, but amazingly, after you left, I didn't work at the Hallmark Channel anymore.
Well, you're next. After he tells his story, your story's coming.
No. Well, you know, so we had a great team at Hallmark that built an incredible franchise and a great brand and a network and a bunch of networks, actually. And we got to the point in 2017, we were #1, fourth quarter, with Countdown to Christmas, and very successful. And at that point, though, you could see the change in, you know, the chairman and the management at the parent company and the family to become much more woke and DEI-driven, very DEI-driven. And so, you know, they were in DEI before it was cool to be in DEI. Mm-hmm. And the reality of that was that we were serving an audience that was focused on family-friendly content and faith-based content, that they wanted traditions, they wanted values, they wanted to see that expressed on TV. And so there was tremendous pressure from the family to make changes.
So at some point then you decided, and you stood up and had the courage to say, I'm not going along with this. I heard, and maybe this little birdie told me the right information or the wrong information, but there was an incident that happened with the White House tree lighting.
Well, this was really the beginning of really seeing this become public or become evident to me. We were chosen to host and televise the White House tree lighting. It was President Trump's first time doing the tree lighting. And there was an article in The Hill that said, Trump White House partners with Hallmark Channel for Christmas tree lighting. And it was wildly successful. It was the president's first tree lighting. We had talent there. It did big ratings. It was a big part of our Christmas presentation. And the reaction was, at the time, that's not so good. And you're either with humanity or you're against it.
That's what you were told?
Yes.
And what was your response?
Well, at the time, you know, I was totally shocked. We had an incredibly successful business that was thriving, and we were, you know, by any measure, we were told for many years we could never be successful as an independent, that we were just, you know, in over our head. We wouldn't be able to survive, and we were successful. So, you know, I kind of took it with a grain of salt. At the time, though, I was very shaken by that thinking, and then you saw it become more pervasive over the next couple of years. So, and we had an audience that was so loyal, loved what we did so much, and they had nowhere else to go on TV. There are many places, any place you want to go, you're going to find different type of content that is not family-friendly and values-based.
When you're faced with something like that, there had to be a level of heartbreak there, because you've poured your life, you've poured your career into that, you've poured your mission, your testimony, your own personal faith into that, and when you come to a moment like that...
And reading notes from viewers who were just so disappointed with, what the direction was is heartbreaking.
Wow. Yep. Dean, you were with Hallmark Channel as well. Of course, you guys have a history, and you left. Tell us a little bit about your personal experience.
By the way, did I host that Christmas dinner? I did host that one. As a matter of fact.
Did you know that was going on behind the scenes at the time?
No, I was too busy working for him. I didn't know that was I didn't realize that was the feedback, which is amazing, because I remember it being a very successful event, and it was great fun. And, it's shocking to hear that. It's actually ridiculous. And, when Bill left Hallmark, I was shocked as well, because I had been doing a lot of films for them, and I enjoyed them so much. Yeah. I'm a single father, and I wanted to make a lot of content that my son could see and my family could see and be around, and that I wanted to watch. And you really built an incredible brand. Absolutely. And then all of a sudden, Bill was gone, and my phone never rang from Hallmark again. And I was like, wow, okay, whatever has happened with the sort of the wokeness, that wasn't going to be me on the other end of the line, which I was okay with. I mean, I had plenty of other things to do. But I found that shocking. I love what you've built. Congratulations again. But it's just that you've proven that what you're putting out there is what people want to watch. And that's fantastic. As far as being canceled, they tried to cancel me in Hollywood so many times. If an actor speaks up on something, listen, and for actors, go ahead and speak up or don't. It doesn't matter to me. I would work with Robert De Niro. He's a great actor. I don't like his politics. Rob Reiner, very good director. I don't agree with his politics either. But I would still work with him, and I don't think it works the other way around. Like, I don't think Rob Reiner, and I've met with Rob since, and he didn't hire me, but it could be for many reasons. But, you just sort of wonder, why it's so solid, such a solid wall on one side and not the other. So I don't think I've ever really been canceled, because I continue to work constantly, and I voice my opinion, and thank you.
Well, absolutely. There is an element of courage when it comes to pressure from the world. And as Christians, we need to understand that we are called to be bold. We're called to be confident, and we're called to operate in excellence at all times. It's interesting because now there is a headline of an article in the New York Times that reads,
"This ought to be good.
The woke movies era is over." That was the New York Times. Absolutely. And I want to read this other, because I want both of you to kind of speak to this, because you have been on the forefront of leading by example when it comes to standing up. There is a cultural shift, this is a quote, and this cultural shift is not merely a trend. It is a revival that has the potential to reshape society in ways that will make the powerful take notice. It is not about political parties, yet its impact will be felt across the political and cultural landscape as young people find hope and identity in Christ and step up as the next generation of leaders. That is where we are.
Are you sure that was the New York Times?
That was not the New York Times.
Oh, that part wasn't.
That was the Christian Post.
There we go.
There you go. The New York Times has declared woke movies that era over. With that being said, Bill, what is next for great American media?
Well, we're going to be true to who we are. We will never compromise our values. We will never change. And we don't care what the environment is. We will be serving the viewer, which we believe, by the way, is the vast majority of the country, who want to see faith-based content that's family-friendly and supports the country and isn't derisive of those elements. So we will never change who we are.
What is the importance, Dean, because you have been very outspoken, like you said. It is not the majority of the country that was asking for the woke content that was being put out. I work for Dr. Phil's Merit TV, and Dr. Phil has done so much research on this fringe that seems to have the microphone. You have challenged that. Talk about the significance of where we are right now and what opportunity we have to spread faith, family, and traditional values.
Well, you kind of don't have to look any much further than what Bill has done at Great American Media.
Yeah.
There's a reason that folks have flocked over there. I'm not sure about the Hallmark numbers anymore, but I got a funny feeling they're not as good as they used to be, my friend, and I think your numbers are up. People go and watch what they want to watch, and they'll find that, and I think that's wonderful. Andrew Breitbart, who was a friend of mine, once said that, you know, politics are downstream from culture. When you're making content like Bill is making and putting out there, people want that, and they will come to it, and they will see it, and I think that's super important. I love making that stuff because I want my son to be able to, you know, watch this. Now, he's 24 now, so he's getting into different things, but when he was in high school, he was at a Christian school, and I did a film called God's Not Dead. I did not play a nice guy in that. And everybody watched the film, and the school went to see it, and they're like, dude, your dad's a jerk. Like, no, he's acting. He's acting. But I mean, I think it's so important to have those conversations, and those kind of films and shows, they have those families have conversations because of them. When you're putting out this other content for just a fringe number of people, they'll die. And that's why, you know, companies like, I'm not going to pick on Disney, but Disney has not done a remarkable job with their franchises, rebranding, changing things, and look at the success that Bill has had, and I think it's wonderful.
Having the courage to do that, though, is so incredible, because without talent like you in God's Not Dead, it isn't the franchise that it is.
That's right.
Thank you, good sir.
I've had the opportunity to be in 2 of the God's Not Dead movies. We met at the Dallas premiere of God's Not Dead, In God We Trust. If you haven't seen it, it's a powerful movie because it mirrors what is actually happening in our society today. It's the spiritual warfare that we all are watching play out. Talk about this Gen Z revival that is happening. We're seeing it in sports with players. We're seeing it with coaches. Ohio State University, guys, they just had 2,000 young people accept Christ on campus. This is happening. So talk about how we're going to come alongside those young people and help catapult them into being the next generation of godly, faith-filled leaders.
I think you talk about it openly and you have those conversations. I mean, if we had this conversation 3 years ago, you know, oh my gosh, what a horrible conversation to have, but now it's okay to have this conversation. And they should. And my son's 24. Does that make him a Gen Z guy? Does that qualify as Gen Z?
So.
Does it? In that area. I was worried about our youth. I really was. Until I started talking to him and some of his friends. And there's some common sense out there. And I think it's wonderful. And so doing this, putting out content that they can watch and talk about and showing them, you know, again, politics downstream from culture. Put it out there and hopefully change the culture. And I think it's happening.
How are you going for that audience? Because we know right now, looking at the statistics, Bible sales are up with Gen Zers. Young men are returning to church in droves. And there are young people who are really returning back to traditional values, faith-filled families. So now it's up to us to come alongside them and help them fly and shine.
The woke left went so far in the other direction, and it was so offensive that it's moved people more toward, you know, faith and family and country and supporting the values they love.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you, what are you working on? What do we need to be looking for? We have about 1 minute, 15 seconds left. What should we be looking from your company? And Dean, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Wow. Well, we will.
Give us the scoop.
That's a big question. We want to work with him. No, I mean we have two great our two biggest platforms. Our flagship is streaming and is PureFlix, which we mentioned, and Great American Family. Both are great and successful, and we're very pleased with both. We have a lot of original content on both, original series, original movies, and we'll keep doing that.
Awesome.
I hope to work for him for a long time. That's what I want to do. And I want to keep making content that gets people thinking and talking. You know, sometimes I'll be the bad guy, but you need a good bad guy with a good message in the film. So I hope to just keep making more and more content and putting it out there and having conversations like this that further our nation and our faith, and I hope it's successful.
And all of us as believers, we are part of this. Each of us has a role to play. So quickly, in 10 seconds or less, what is your message to everyone sitting in here in terms of their role in making this happen and getting this out in their communities?
Support projects and channels and platforms like Bill's. I mean, that's 100% it. I mean, I give great support to it, and that support means everything.
And be proud of it. and never shy away from it, never run from it, and always be who you are.
And we will continue to give God the glory. Let's thank Bill and Dean Cain and thank all of you. God bless you, and God bless this great United States of America.
Thank you, Fanchon.
Thank you.
Welcome to CPAC. At Great American Media, we celebrate what matters most: faith, family, and country. Today, we invite you to experience storytelling that uplifts, inspires, and reflects the values we all cherish. PureFlix is your home for entertainment without compromise. With faith-driven movies and series, we bring you stories that strengthen hearts, uplift spirits, and honor what truly matters. And on Great American Family, where faith leads, where stories inspire. Welcome home. Whether it's Christmas all year long, heartfelt romances, or movies that bring families together, we are here to make you feel at home. At Great American Media, our foundation is quality. Our promise is to always deliver entertainment that aligns with your faith and values. Thank you for standing with us as we stand for faith, family, and country. Enjoy CPAC.